thought you signed it.
Yeah.
Okay, President Reed, we're live.
Thank you. The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans.
Present.
Alderwoman Hubbard.
Present.
Alderwoman Gracia. Alderman Coder. Alderwoman Rice.
Present.
Alderman Gunther.
Here.
Alderman Balmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Grass.
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Here.
Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderwoman Green.
Present.
Alderman Odenberg.
Present.
Alderman Rhodey.
Present.
Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Here.
Alderman Cone.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro.
Present.
President Reed.
Here.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Gracia.
I'm present, trying to get this camera working.
Thank you. Alderwoman Gracia. Alderman Coder.
Here.
Thank you. Alderwoman Martin.
Hello. Here.
Thank you. Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad.
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Present. Present.
28 present.
Quorum being present, we are so very blessed today to be led in prayer by John Watson Sr. And if that name sounds familiar, it should, because he is the father of John Watson Jr. John Watson Sr. served in the Army in the Korean War, and he was stationed in France. He raised 11 children and has been a pastor for 50 years. He retired from the Board of Education after 30 years. He's married to Addie Watson, and together they are enjoying their retirement and 85 grand, and they're 85 grand and great children. So that is a blessing. John Watson Sr., we're so very blessed and thankful to have you here today. So we're turning the floor over to you to lead us in prayer. John Watson Sr., sorry about that.
Thank you, President Reed, and greetings to all of the aldermen and women, you great soldiers of the Lord that are leading this community in making things as possible to help us. And we do appreciate the sacrifice that you all are making. And we pray God blessing upon you, all of you. We bow our heads in reverence to this divine Savior that we are serving. Father God, we pray at this time that you would look with tenderness and kindness on these great leaders. These are the ones who are sacrificing to make our community, our city, and all of these things that we must have in place. in order to be organized and able to do business. Thank you for your kindness, how you give them to debate and work together, yet loving one another, and giving them the understanding for making progressive plans for our area. I pray, Lord, that you bless all of them together. And I pray a special blessing on President Reed. He's a great man of God. And I know you take notice of the service that he's rendering unto his people. And so, Lord, I pray you bless our whole area with the complications and the difficult time we're living in. Whereas we need our strength and our grace to enable us to make decisions that are beneficiary for all of these around us. We say again, in the name of that wonderful Christ, thank God for Jesus Christ. We say amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Thank you again. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Watson, for such a great prayer. Let's give him a big round of applause and thank you for all.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're also giving you a special thanks for your namesake, John Watson Jr., who's been just a steadfast supporter of the entire board and helping lead us in prayer and get us on the right foot before we have entered into some of the most contentious debates over the years. So
Yeah, definitely so.
you and your family. And please send our special thanks and prayers to your wife, who is just awesome. And I don't know if you all remember when she sang for us, that she is just an evangelist. So
whose side you leaning on?
Yeah, whose side are you leaning on? Yeah, that's it. All right, thanks, Pastor.
All righty. God bless you.
God bless you too. We will dispense with line item 3, introduction of honored guests. Any introduction of all the ones from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. As some of you may notice, the women at the board this morning are wearing t-shirts that say Empowered Women, Empower St. Louis. I'd like to have as my honored guest the president of Rung for Women, Leslie Gill. They've launched their inaugural cohort of women, so you can sign up for their services to elevate the lives and careers of women starting this month, and the first class will be this coming March. So in honor of that happening for women in St. Louis, the women at the board here today are wearing the Rung shirts. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you for joining us, Ms. Gill. And Alderwoman Ingracia, I understand you wanted her to be a panelist this morning. If you should give her a courtesy resolution next week. That way she can be a panelist and have an opportunity to speak at next week's board meeting. Any further introductions? Alderman from the 23rd.
Yeah, as always, I'd like to have my friend Greg as my special guest.
Welcome, Greg. Welcome, Greg. Alderman from 23rd.
Today, I also would like to have my friend Don Nelson, who's here with me. He's here on my friend Don Nelson, who's home with me pretty much come to an end. He's a World War II vet. Please keep me in your prayers.
And I don't know if you all caught that, but Alderman Vaquero is at home right now with his friend Don, who's transitioning at this moment, and they're very close friends. So Alderman Vaquero is going to join the board for as long as he can this morning, but he may have to break away because his friend is transitioning this morning. We will keep Don and his family and friends in our prayers. Any further introductions? Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes, Friday, November 6th, 2020.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on approval of the minutes.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for approval of the minutes dated November the 6th, 2020.
Moved by Alderman from 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from 10th, and Alderman from 13th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the aldermen's mailboxes.
Dispense with line item 7. Would anyone like to take any bills off our informal calendars? Alderman from the 22nd.
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to take Board Bill, that's 119. Yeah, Board Bill 119. I would like to place it on the perfection calendar, please.
All right, Alderman from the 22nd, would you, this board bill, I understand, isn't going to be very contentious. Would you like to just make the motion under the perfection informal calendar, make the motion for perfection on it now? If everyone finally has all the documents that they need, because it was missing an attachment last week.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. President. Is that in an motion or is that just?
Yeah, you would just make a motion to perfect it, Board Bill 119 at this point.
Mr. President, I move to move the Board Bill 119 to the perfection consent calendar.
Second.
Board Bill, Madam Clerk, please place Board Bill 119 on the perfection consent calendar.
So noted.
Alderman from the 1st.
I was going to, I didn't get a chance to see the attachment, and I was going to ask for the entire perfection consent calendar to be removed to the regular perfection calendar. And also, I want, if appropriate now, before we get into it, Board Bill 135 removed from the third reading consent calendar.
All right, so Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Take Board Bill 135 off the third reading calendar, place it on the off the third reading consent calendar, place it on the regular third reading calendar. That's 135. And then, so 135.
The particular board bills are numbers for the perfection consent calendar are.
I think you're okay if you request an entire calendar move, we'll just move that.
It was only 2 until he added that third one. It's 152, 150, and whatever he just added.
Okay. Clerk, please make note of that. Place Board Bill 119. To it. 152 and 150 on the regular perfection calendar.
So noted.
All right. Would anyone like to take any further Alderman from the 21st? Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move Board Bill 98 off the informal calendar.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Place Board Bill 98 at the end of the regular perfection calendar.
So noted.
Any further bills? Any further bills? We dispense with line items 8 through 10, 8 through 10, first reading of board bills.
Board Bill 158, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, Alderwoman Murphy, and Alderman Cone, an ordinance pertaining to special use districts establishing the Bevo Mill Area Special Use District, providing definitions and finding pertaining to said Bevo SUD, further providing use and conditional regulations for said Bevo SUD and containing an emergency clause and a severability clause. Board Bill 159, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance dissolving special allocations funds for 4494 Lindell redevelopment area and terminating the designation of a certain portion of the city of St. Louis, Missouri relating to such as a redevelopment area, repealing ordinance number 70157 and authorizing certain actions relating thereto. Board Bill 160, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance pertaining to the Oscar Waring House located at 1211 Tower Grove Avenue, having as subject matter the designation of the property as a City of St. Louis landmark containing definitions, landmark standards, and a severability clause. Board Bill 161, sponsored by Alderwoman Negracia, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface, surface, and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in the 20-foot wide east-west alley in City Block 6472, beginning at 20th Street and extending to its terminus and bounded by Olive on North, 20th on the east, and Pine on the south in City of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with Charter Authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 162, sponsored by Alderwoman Navarro, Alderman Gunther, Alderwoman Rice, Alderwoman Negracia, and Alderwoman Murphy. An ordinance pertaining to electric vehicle charging stations amending Ordinance 70794, which adopted the 2018 International Building Code as amended and codifying said changes in Chapter 25 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis and containing a severability clause, savings clause, and an effective date. Board Bill 163, sponsored by Alderwoman Navarro, Alderman Gunther, Alderwoman Rice, Alderwoman Negracia, and Alderwoman Murphy. An ordinance pertaining to electric vehicle charging stations amending Ordinance 70795, which adopted the 2018 International Residential Code as amended and codifying said changes in Chapter 25 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis and containing a severability clause, savings clause, and an effective date. Board Bill 164, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance determining that the tax increment financing plans listed in Exhibit A are making satisfactory progress except as noted under the proposed time schedule for completion of projects therein. Board Bill 165, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 66420, ordinance number 64928, ordinance number 65724, ordinance number 65910, and ordinance number 65443, dissolving the special allocation funds for Maryland Plaza North, the Convention Headquarters Hotel, 1141 through 115 South 1151 South 7th Street, 1312 Washington, and MLK Plaza area redevelopment projects, and terminating the designation of a portion of the City of St. Louis, Missouri as redevelopment areas and authorizing certain actions relating thereto. That is the extent of first reading of board bills.
Reference to committee.
To the HUD Committee, Board Bill 158, 159, 160, 164, and 165. To the Streets Committee, Board Bill 161, and to Public Safety, Board Bill 162 and 163. That is the extent of reference to committee.
Second reading.
The following board bill was reported out of Legislation Committee with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill 148 as amended, sponsored by Alderman Coder, an ordinance for the adoption of the 2020 edition of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis, annotated with charter, tables, and cross-references for former codes included, and providing for the retention, distribution, supplementation of the revised code with an emergency clause. That is the extent of second readings.
Dispense with line item 14 and line item 15, board bills for perfection.
Board Bill 19, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, President Reed, and the following alderpersons.
Hold on a second. 119.
I'm sorry, Board Bill 119, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, President Reed, and the following alderpersons: Davis, Vaccaro, Hubbard, Ingracia, Murphy, Coder, Oldenburg, Middlebrook, and Clark Hubbard. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, wherein the Board of Aldermen authorizes the receipt of and appropriates funds awarded under the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development Dislocated Workers National Emergency WIOA grant relating to the COVID-19 pandemic and containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 119.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for perfection of Board Bill 119.
Second.
Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 13th. Alderman from the 22nd, please proceed.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Board Bill 119 anticipates the receipt of $240,163 from the Missouri Department of Higher Education to support the workforce development for dislocated workers with the National Emergency WIO grant. And this money is coming through the Slate office, and it's pretty simple board bill. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Alderman from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. If the Alderman from the 22nd would yield.
Alderman from the 22nd will yield to the Alderman from the 1st.
Yes.
Alderman from the 1st.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I just looked over Exhibit A. So I think you answered my question. So the total grant is $240,163, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's coming through, so Slate will be the the entity that will be in charge of this grant?
That's correct.
Okay, and I had a question. So in Exhibit A of the budget, will all of this money, except for the $22,000 approximately that they have for administration, be given directly to the people who are going to be receiving these grants? I think it was like 21,833 that was for administration indirect, but is the rest of the grant going to go directly to the people?
Yes, that's my understanding. Looking at Exhibit A, page 6, it kind of breaks it out for you. It shows the 21,833 is for admin indirect, and the rest of it has to do with personnel, fringe benefits, travel, equipment, supplies, and contractual obligations to administer the grant.
I'm sorry. I thought so that besides the $22,000, the other amount is to administer the grant, not award to people?
It's the money goes to, if you read it, it says the budget goes to $96,640 in wages for seven total of the following rows. 6 months average each healthcare workers. It's to support healthcare workers.
Right.
Cleaners, warehouse. So there are positions that it's supporting.
Okay, I must be missing something because I don't see the 96,000. Could you refer me to that? I thought that I was getting ready to really commend them because I'm looking at 22,000 for admin, and the rest I thought was going directly to the program sub-recipients or the recipients. So where am I missing the 96,000?
Okay, so if you look at Exhibit A, page 6 of 6, right-hand column, you see $218,330, and it breaks it out where the starts out subcontractor EDSI budget is as follows. It starts off with $96,640 for wages, and then it breaks out from there in benefits and training activities.
Okay.
Different other staff positions. Okay.
So I misunderstood what this was. I thought this was going directly to people. This is to help the administration of other programs that would help people directly. So there's nothing to apply to here is what I'm trying to get at.
You mean as far as like public applying as a subrecipient?
Correct.
No.
Correct.
No.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Alderman of the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to ask that my name be added to this, to Board Bill 119.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Add the Alderman from the 9th to Board Bill 119. Alderman from the 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say I fully support this. This has been a great bipartisan effort in Jeff City for a long time, and I'm glad that we also can benefit from this, and our residents can benefit from this. I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Clerk, please make note of that. Add the Alderman from the 11th. as a co-sponsor. Alderwoman from the 4th. Alderwoman from the 4th. One more second. Alderwoman from the 4th.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I would also, Mr. Chair, I'd also like to have my name added to the board bill.
All right, Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderwoman from the 4th, please add her name to Board Bill 119. Alderwoman from the 28th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please add my name as well as a co-sponsor.
And Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderwoman from the 28th. Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks for everyone who worked on this bill. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor as well.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderman from the 8th should be added to 119. Alderman from the 25th.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to have my name out as a co-sponsor to the bill.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderman from the 25th. Alderwoman from the 13th.
Yes, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor. Would it be appropriate at this time to see if we would make a move to have it in bank?
You're free to make the motion, and we'll see if there's any objections to it. But of course, the aldermen that are absent today would not be added to it.
I move we make Board Bill 119 in bank.
Second.
Moved by the Alderman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th. Any objections? Alderman from the 1st, any objections? It's been moved and seconded that we make our Bill 119 in bank. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Every alderman that is in attendance today, please add their name to Board Bill 119. Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize the close.
Mr. President, I'll renew my motion.
All right, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 13th that we perfect Board Bill 119. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board Bill 152, sponsored by Alderwoman Ingracia and Alderwoman Rice. An ordinance to amend Ordinance 70624, approved October 24th, 2017, to add a section to include an enforcement mechanism.
Alderman from the 6th, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 152.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to perfect Board Bill 152.
Second.
Moved by the Alderman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 8th. Please proceed, Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. President. If appropriate, I'd like to introduce Amendment 1 to Board Bill 152. It should be in your perfection folders.
Does everybody have access to Amendment number 1? Alderman from the 1st? You have your hand up. Does everyone, Alderman from the 1st, you have your hand up? Does everyone have access to Amendment number 1? Alderman from the 6th, please read Amendment number 1 to the record.
Thank you, Mr. President. So on page 2, line 12, we are going to strike out the words November, and there's a blank date, and insert December 11th. Having this, if we pass this board bill out, we don't have time, I think, for an agreement to be negotiated by the end of November. And so I'm just doing that one small change to make sure that the bill comes out clean.
All right, I'd like to make the motion for it now.
Yes, thank you. I move that we adopt Amendment number 1 to Board Bill 152.
Second.
Alderman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 8th. Any discussion on Amendment number 1? Alderman from the 1st.
Did she say she's changing it to December?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions regarding that amendment.
Okay. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 8th that we adopt Amendment number 1 to Board Bill 152. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Aye.
Alderman from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board Bill 152 as amended provides an enforcement mechanism for an ordinance that we passed unanimously in 2017 that was moved forward by the clerk, former Alderman Terry Kennedy. The issue of illegal lockouts or self-help evictions when a tenant comes home and just finds their items out on the street or their locks changed or both instead of the process that needs to go through via our court system was already an issue pre-pandemic and is being exacerbated because of the moratoria that both the CDC has across the entire country and the one that the 22nd Judicial Circuit Court has. Unfortunately, our police department doesn't currently have the capacity to be able to undertake the enforcement of this ordinance. And the sheriff's department is uniquely positioned to be able to handle especially eviction notifications because they are the city agency that is already serving those summonses. And many times they're getting those calls anyway. And so this would just allow an agreement under state statute between the City of St. Louis's Public Safety Department and the Sheriff's Department to allow to enforce this one municipal ordinance that we have on the books to hopefully prevent any more or more of these illegal lockouts from occurring. And I'm happy to take questions if my colleagues have them.
Alderman from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. If the Alderwoman from the 6th would yield.
Alderman from the 6th will yield the question from the Alderman from the 1st.
I will.
Alderman from the 1st. Please.
So I like to do the disclosure. I am a landlord. I also, when I was in law school, did what's called Rule 13, work for legal services, and oppose vigorously illegal evictions. I think that is awful. Saying all of that, I have struggled with this concept of not allowing landlords to evict people. And I understand the concept behind it, but I have struggled because I'm all for that as long as you also require that people not be able to charge the landlords for water, insurance, all of the other things, mortgages, because if you allow tenants to stay in a building and they don't pay the rent, and I'm not talking about rich landlords, I'm talking about small landlords who may rent out the second part of their two-family flat or they have a four-family flat, then at some point the budget becomes a problem. And I voted for this when the clerk who was then an alderman of the 18th did it. But now my question becomes, if we're preventing people from evicting people and they don't have to pay rent, if you look on page 2 of 4 of the bill that was passed by the former 18th Ward alderman, it says on line 15, a person does not commit the offense of illegal eviction by taking action to interrupt or diminish essential services to the premises if such action is taken for a legitimate health or safety reason. Okay, well, but sometimes what happens is when landlords can't pay their bills because the tenants are not paying their bills and you haven't given them any recourse, because I've never understood that, don't pay the rent and don't allow them to stay there, and then don't also say in connection with not being able to evict, that you also have to say that then the big banks cannot then call in mortgages, because what will happen is if they don't have the money, either the water gets turned off or the mortgage. I have several tenants right now where they've moved into my apartments because the landlords couldn't afford the mortgage. And when the mortgage company comes in and takes the whole building, they put everybody out, whether they paid the rent or not. So I guess my question is, what are we enforcing when we are not allowing the landlords to take their due right of saying, hey, I can't afford to carry 2, 3, 4 people that are not paying the rent, and I still have to pay all the bills associated with being a landlord? And exactly what would you envision that the sheriff would be doing in this case if the landlord didn't pay the mortgage and or if the landlord could not and did not pay the water bill or something like that?
I, I think I understand the question. So I guess my first reply would be that this is only preventing landlords from locking out tenants if they haven't filed something in court, done something that is required under the law of them anyway.
I understand.
Right.
I understand that.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah. Could you repeat?
I understand that. I actually used to do that for legal services. Dan Glazier was who I work for, who's now the head of legal services, but he used to be part of housing legal services. So I understand. I did many of them. I prevented a lot of people from being put out. But it also, if you look at what we're doing now, we've changed. This has changed. When we passed this ordinance, landlords had a right to go in, present, I'm not getting paid, and therefore I need to have this person evicted because I'm not getting paid, and I need that income to pay my bills. Now we have put a moratorium on landlords being able to evict. So then you have to make choices as a landlord of what you're going to do. If I'm not getting in money and if I got a 4-family flat and 3 or 4 of the people not paying my rent, then at some point I'm having to pay the mortgage, the insurance, taxes are coming up, water. But one of the things it says about this is an illegal offense of illegal eviction is if you cause essential services such as water to be turned off. If you don't have any income coming in, you're going to cause that water to be turned off, or even more importantly, you're going to not be able to pay your mortgage, and the mortgage company will come in and take the building. So that becomes an illegal eviction if you're not paying your water bill, when in fact, how can we enforce not paying your water bill if you're not getting rent, is what I'm saying, okay? Because if you look at
now, there's also a moratorium on water being shut off in the city of St. Louis.
And I'm just using water. I'm using water, but what about mortgage?
I think that's a great question. It's come up several times in a number of other ways as we've discussed the pandemic. And I think it's incumbent upon us to be advocating as we can for the conversations that are happening in Jefferson City at the state level and at the federal government right now in terms of relief, because relief has been provided for tenants, but not for landlords. And I do think that is a problem.
And so I'm not advocating necessarily for landlords unless it's right. I think it ought to be companion. If you're saying people do not have to pay their rent because we do not want to make more of a homeless situation, but landlords are not the government. So if the government is preventing you from doing something that you would legally have a right to do, then there has to be a companion going at the same time, not after the landlord gets in deep water because they haven't been able to get their tenants to pay. So then you are going to do what? You're going to have the sheriff then come and seek the landlord and do what to them?
There is a enforcement provision that's the one that's pretty standard in all of our ordinances. That is a fine or jail time. But basically what would happen is a citation would be written.
A citation would be written, and then they would have to go to court and defend that citation, right?
If they wanted to, yes, if they were in opposition to it, yes.
And so, and we're not having court. So so we're not having court right now. So if they still didn't do.
There are a lot of court hearings happening remotely via webinar.
By Zoom, not Zoom, but right. So, but if we're going to court in the meantime, and I know what you're really getting at. You're getting at landlords come home, they change the lock. They don't just change the lock. They take the doors off of the apartment. They take windows out. They take, I can describe all the things that I've had to, that I used to have to defend against. They remove washing machine and dryers or refrigerators or whatever it is. They put a barking dog down below so that you can't get sleep. So there's a lot of ways that they either actually evict them or constructively evict them. So I get that, okay? And I think that's what you're mainly trying to get at. But I'm saying I believe in here, in this bill, especially as it is written, that we will get unintended consequences toward landlords who are right now locked into being the government. When you tell me I cannot collect my rent and I cannot evict people, then you're making me part of a government. And so people say, oh, landlords are so mean. They put people out. I am totally against those kind of people who are illegally evicting people or doing things illegally. But I am also totally against us taking the position that people don't have to pay their rent and that the landlord has no recourse for it, or you have to wait 8 months, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. And then when you come after your rent, that person can't pay it. So you basically have prevented them from getting paid. And so I think we ought to have a program that essentially goes along and says, if I prevent you from paying your rent, then the government is responsible for paying that rent. And no landlord will be wanting to put most people out except for troublemakers if that is happening. But if you're preventing them from doing that, and then you're going to write them up a citation, if they don't go along with this, I think if you read that, there are some things that they could unintentionally do. And you're saying water right now, but that water bill is still piling up and that landlord will still be responsible for it. And at some point, somebody has to pay it. It will be that landlord. But if you've been able to, because I can pretty fast get people out of my apartments if they're acting up, and I have had to evict people. And you don't want it to be a long drawn out thing for whatever. But if you let them stay 6, 7, 8, 9 months, you never get the thousands of dollars usually that are owed you because they don't have it. So when that's forced upon you for whatever reason, that is unfair. And I've talked to, I know a number of people who own small pieces of property, and they actually use that other part of the rent. They live in one, and the rent is used to pay their mortgage or whatever. So if you're going to go after landlords for their part of it, and you've been an advocate about tenants not being evicted, then you also should be advocating that the government at the same time make sure that the landlords get paid their money so that ultimately you're not forcing them to go into a debt that they didn't willingly create. The original landlord-tenant relationship is created. I actually, when I was the chair of public safety, I'm the person who sponsored the bill that you could no longer just set the stuff out on the streets. I thought that was disrespectful of landlords because you're the original agreement with that person, so you should be responsible if you put them out, not to make the whole community have to put up with people's stuff out on the street, and also not being able to do that. So a lot of people start renting the storage units and putting it in there. But I think that if you sit down and you look at your long-term effect, there's going to be unintended consequences against landlords who have been forced into a position that is not their own making. And so I'm not opposed to illegal eviction, but I am opposed to not making sure small business people, Main Street, not Wall Street. I'm not talking about people who got $1 million, and own big apartments, but have small apartments and rely on that to pay their rent. For them getting in trouble if they cannot pay the bills, and then later on they're in trouble. Maybe not right now, but they're in trouble because we have stopped them from evicting somebody who was not paying rent. I will also say that I have heard from landlords who say that people had this problem way before COVID-19 came on. And so now when we're telling them that they cannot evict people, these are people who are already in trouble, and they're just building up a debt that they cannot stand. And as you understand it, do we have anything going on right now that would prevent a mortgage company from coming in and taking over a building if the landlord has not been able to pay his mortgage because he has not been able to collect rent from his tenants?
That's a great question. The only federal protection in place right now is loans that are directly through or supported in any way by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And landlords are also able to receive relief if they work with their tenants in order to have that payment go towards the mortgage instead of the rent payment. But to your point, and I completely agree, I sit on a couple of weekly calls about housing issues. I've worked with a number of stakeholders. I'm regularly communicating with our federal elected officials and state representatives and senators about my concern on this and many other issues.
So what I'm going to say, I'm going to support this, but I think that we need to change the original, the ordinance as written right now that we're including, we're going to enforce, that we need to do some tweaking to the original ordinance 70624 if we're going to enforce that, especially during the time of COVID. I don't even care if we have a sunset clause in it that says during COVID-19 something happens. I think we need to tweak that. Again, I am an advocate of people being fairly evicted if they have to do that, or not being unfairly evicted. Or self-help is never a good idea, be it evictions or any kind of thing. Self-help is not a good idea. So I support the concept behind it. But to me, there are some problems with it. And I had to have practice in this. But I support the original concept. And that's why I asked it to be taken off of the consent calendar, because I want to just have a conversation about it. Thank you, Mr. President. I have no further questions. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say I always appreciate questions. I have not been able to find the exhibit to this bill.
Alderman from the 6th, Alderman from the 1st had the floor. She didn't have any further questions of you, but you'll be able, I'll recognize you a little bit later.
Well, Mr. President, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut her off because I had asked her to speak, so I wasn't trying to cut her off. So if you would indulge, I'll withdraw that because I thought she was done, so I wasn't trying to cut her off.
Okay, Alderman from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was actually just going to mention that I would be happy to work with the Alderwoman from the 1st on the issue. I happened to notice while we were having our conversation that the exhibit to the board bill is not anywhere I can find it. And so I'd like to place Board Bill 152 as amended on the informal calendar.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Place Board Bill 152 as amended on.
So noted. Board Bill 150, sponsored by Alderwoman Grass, an ordinance amending Ordinance 70932, which defines recreational fire and establishes requirements for their location by changing the minimum distance a recreational fire must be located away from a structure from 25 feet to 12 feet.
Alderman from 12th, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 150.
Good morning, and thank you, President Reed. I move to perfect Board Bill 150.
Second.
Alderman from 12th, seconded by Alderman from 13th. Alderman from 12th, please proceed.
Well, it's pretty clear from the board bill. I would appreciate your support in making it possible for all of us to enjoy our small fires in our small backyards.
All right, thanks. Alderman from the 1st.
My committee member is doing a very good job, so I'm going to be very gentle. Alderwoman, Mr. President, members of the board, it's Alderman from the 12th. Would yield.
I will.
Alderman from the 1st, please proceed.
Thank you. So, Alderwoman, this is being changed from 25 to 12 because of we all have those little devices in our backyard now. The fire, what are they called? The not barrels, but whatever the little things are, where we can build fires. Is that why that's being changed? Pit. That's the name, right? Is that why this is being changed?
Yes.
And so the fire department didn't have any problems with that, right?
I'm not going to say that they didn't have any problems with it, but they're okay with it.
Okay. Oh, very precise. I like that. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I was very gentle with you. You did a good job. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alderman from
I have no further questions, Mr. President.
Thank you. Alderman from the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Alderwoman from the 20th, or the Alderwoman from the 1st, sorry, that was a slip. Actually had the same question I did, but I just wanted to say congratulations to the Alderwoman from the 12th. I believe this is her first bill coming forward, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 12th, you've recognized the close.
Now I'm lost. I got all that praise and I don't know what to do.
Oh, that's all right. You renew your motion.
I renew my motion to pass Board Bill 150.
All right, it's been moved by Alderman from the 12th, seconded by the Alderman from the 13th, and also the Alderman from the 4th, that we perfect Board Bill 150. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's renew our tradition of giving us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was our first bill. We used to always clap for that.
Well, and Alderman for the first, the other thing we used to do is make sure that we all voted against your very first bill.
You normally do, yeah.
Bring it back and
Don't do that to her.
just so that no one gets out of this board without having a bill that failed at a time. That's what.
Thank you for sparing me.
So
it's a little hard to do on COVID and get this and figure it out.
Madam Clerk.
Board Bill 98, sponsored by Alderman Collins Muhammad, an ordinance establishing the O'Fallon Penrose Special Business District pursuant to sections 71.790 through 71.808 of the revised statutes of Missouri, setting its boundaries, tax rate, initial rate of levy, subject to the approval of the qualified voters, bonding authority, and uses to which tax revenue may be put, creating a board of commissioners and containing the severability, effectiveness, and emergency clauses.
All right. Alderman from the 21st, you recognize on perfection of Board Bill 98.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the perfection of Board Bill 98.
Moved by the
Second.
First, seconded by the Alderman from the first. Alderman from the first, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board Bill 98 will establish a special taxing district in the 21st Ward that would allow our community and our numerous several neighborhoods to redevelop and create community beautification. We'll also playing a large role in community organizing. With that, Mr. President, I have no further comments or remarks. I think this is a simplified board bill. I will entertain questions from the board if any member has any. But with that, I am done, Mr. President.
Any further discussion on Board Bill 98? Any further discussion on Board Bill 98? Alderman for the 21st, you recognize to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. I renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 21st, seconded by the Alderman from the first, that we perfect Board Bill 98. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
That is the extent of board bills for perfection.
Third reading consent.
Board Bill 85, 106, 107, 118, 129, 138, 139, 140, 141, 144, and 145.
Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion for third reading consent calendar.
I move that we adopt the third reading consent calendar.
Moved by Alderman from the 10th, entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Second.
Alderman from the 13th and Alderman from the 14th. Any further discussion? Alderman from the first.
I'm sorry, I don't have any question. I was looking for 143, but it's on the regular third reading, I guess. Okay.
Yes, 143 is on the regular third reading.
All right, thank you.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt our third reading consent calendar. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley.
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Evans.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Gracia.
Aye.
Alderman Coder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther. Alderman Balmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin.
Aye.
Alderwoman Grass.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderman Rhodey,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
thank you, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Boyd, 27 aye votes.
By your vote, staying the motion, Alderman from the 10th and 3rd read and finally passed the aforementioned bills. Third reading report on engrossments.
Board Bill 143, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance to submit a 2021 annual action plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development as required to apply for funding under the Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, Emergency Solutions Grant, and housing opportunities for persons with AIDS HOPWA entitlement programs, authorizing and directing the mayor and the comptroller on behalf of the city of St. Louis to enter into and execute agreements with HUD for the receipts of 2021 CDBG, Home, ESG, and HOPWA funds.
Alderman from the 17th, recognized on third reading, final passage of Board Bill 143.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for third reading, final passage. Board Bill
Second.
142.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 17th, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. Any discussion? Any discussion? Alderman from the 17th, you recognize the close.
I renew my motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we third reading and final pass Board Bill 143. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyers,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Alderman Bosley, Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderwoman Ingracia,
Aye.
Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice,
Aye.
Alderman Gunther,
Aye.
Alderman Balmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderwoman Grass,
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderman Rhodey,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderman Bosley, Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Boyd,
Aye. I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on.
27 aye votes.
I vote, staying the motion of the Alderman from the 17th and third read and finally passed. Board Bill 143.
Board Bill 135, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing and directing the issuance and delivery of a subordinate taxable tax increment revenue note series 2021 in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed 25 million plus costs of issuance for certain reimbursable redevelopment projects costs associated with area-wide projects, authorizing and directing the mayor and the comptroller to execute and deliver the seventh supplement trust indenture to connection with the issuance of area-wide series 2021 notes, designating the trustee for such notes, authorizing and directing the taking of other actions and approval and execution of other documents as necessary or desirable to carry out and comply with the intent hereof, superseding provisions of prior ordinances of the city to the extent inconsistent with the terms hereof and containing a severability clause.
Alderman from the 17th, you recognize on third reading and final passage of Board Bill 135.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for passage of Board Bill 135.
Second.
Moved by Alderman from the 17th, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. Alderman from the 17th.
I renew my motion.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the first.
Roll call.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? It's been moved by the Alderman from the 17th, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th, that we third read and final pass Board Bill 135. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
No.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley.
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Negracia. Alderman Coder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderman Valmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin.
Aye.
Alderwoman Grass. Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Green.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Rhodey.
Aye.
Alderman Todd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
Alderwoman Grass.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. 26 aye votes and 1 no vote.
By your vote, stay in the motion. Alderman from the 17th and third read and finally passed Board Bill 135.
That is the extent of third reading report of engrossment.
Report of enrollment.
Board Bill 85, 106, 107, 118, 129, 135, 138, 139, 140, 141, 143, 144, and 145.
All other business being suspended, the president shall in open session affix his signature hereto to the end that these may become law. Big stack today. A lot of bills passing today. It's good. Dispense with line item 20, first reading of resolutions.
Resolution 67, sponsored by Alderwoman Middlebrook, 6901 McCossick Avenue in the city of St. Louis, Enhanced Enterprise Zone.
Alderman from the second, you recognize on first reading of resolution number 67.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to have resolution number 67 sent to HUD's.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the second that we sign resolution 67 to HUD's. Entertain a second. Second by the Alderman from the 19th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please sign resolution 67 to HUD's.
So noted. That is the extent of first reading resolutions.
Second reading,
We have none.
miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
Announcements.
The following meetings will be held via webinar. Wednesday, November 18th, HUD's will have a meet at 9 a.m. Rules will have a meet at 10 a.m. Thursday, November 19th, Personnel will have a meet at 10 a.m. Friday, November 20th, Full Board meeting 10 a.m. via webinar. That is the extent of the announcements.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Other one from the 12th.
I'm sorry, I should have done this earlier at the beginning of the meeting, but as a special guest, my brother Bart is here and he's helping his much older sister some stuff. So I just wanted to thank him, and he's listened to all of us today. He doesn't live in the city, but he's enjoyed his time here with us this morning.
Welcome, Bart.
Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Also, maybe could have brought this up sooner as well, but we hit a pretty grim milestone in the COVID-19 journey today with 2,000 St. Louisans who have lost their lives over the last several months, and we are nearing capacity in our hospitals. And to just want to tell people to urgently be careful, but also would love a moment of silence to remember those folks that can't continue to be with us.
Right. I'm asking everyone to join us in a moment of silence for all who have lost their lives to COVID, and to the many family members and others who are dealing with COVID today and lives are being deeply affected by it. Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I just wanted to recognize KMOX and all of the volunteers and support that we're getting for our Habitat home build in the Gate District West. Many people know and understand that it's a great opportunity for those who have lower incomes to be able to become first-time homeowners, and the project is moving well. And I just wanted to thank everyone who is supporting Habitat. And if you have any dollars, and I know that's hard to say these days, but please donate to Habitat. They do great work. Thank you.
Right, and Alderwoman from the 19th, I also want to just give you a special congratulations on the new Urban League site that was just opened yesterday. Done just a tremendous amount of work in bringing more resources to the community and interconnecting the business community with the community so that more people can get jobs and resources. It's a major resource center. I invite everyone to reach out to understand what all the things that will be delivered through that facility. But congratulations. Let's give Alderwoman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion to excuse.
It is my understanding that all aldermen are present today, sir.
Excellent. Alderman from 10th, you recognize on the motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn from this Friday the 13th and move to next meeting.
No, you have to. Friday, November 20th.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, we adjourn from Friday the 13th and move to our next meeting, which will be November 20th.
All right, it's been moved by Alderman from the 10th, second by Alderman from the 25th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Carry. We stand adjourned. See y'all next Friday. Be
Thank
safe.
you all very much.
All right.
See ya.
And a good week.